Welcome back to Grassroots here on Apollo Media Network, the show that highlights amateur and youth sports and highlights the individuals that participated. I'm Everett Sakajobi along with Christian Begg. What's up, Christian?
Man? What's up,
Man, how you been today, man?
I'm good.
Man, we got a special guest in the building today, man. Go ahead and intro our guest for us,
Man,
man.
I don't want to mess up the name, man. Say it for me, man.
Amityville Horror.
Amityville Horror. Hey, Mike, I go back.
Hold on, man. You got to introduce him, man.
Man, you got the introduction.
Hey, look.
Mike, man.
Hey, look, we got a special guest in the building. 13-year NBA veteran, NBA champion, Amityville Horror. Mike James. Mike James in the building. What up, Mike?
What's going on, family?
Mike, I got a quick story. We were at Fondy, and, man, your daughter might have been one of your girls, whatever, little bitty. You come in, man, you had some Air Force Ones on, and I want to say you had painted on it, you know, your hometown or whatever. Do you remember that by chance? I was like, dang, man. So you weren't playing that day. Maybe you were playing that day, but I remember, man, that sticks right in my brain.
Yeah. Hey, so you have somebody giving you custom shoes back then before it was even a thing.
Yeah.
All right, so Christian, Mike, you know, again, this is Grassroots, the show that highlights amateur youth sports. You got a lot of great stories of your past and when you were a youth athlete and now what you're doing with some of the athletes you're touching. Christian, give the folks out there and tell Mike what our definition of grassroots is.
So our definition of grassroots is basically the origin, just breaking it down to the bare minimum, the beginning, the start of something. In this case, the start of youth sports, right? For me, you know, my kids, we started with YMCA basketball starting up, right? The very bare minimum. So we're taking it from there.
So, Mike, when you hear the word grassroots, tell us your very first memory of you participating in a grassroots sport.
Oh, man. I can remember playing ninth grade. I was in ninth grade, and we was playing summer basketball. And, you know, I was pretty good in 6th, 7th grade, 8th grade basketball, but I was telling all my friends, man, I'm playing varsity next year, you know, in 10th grade. Like 9th grade was still middle school where we was in school. But then 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, and it was an honor to be young and playing varsity at our school because we had so much talent. And so I was like a little arrogant little kid. And I was like, man, I'm playing varsity next year. And it was like, man, you're not playing varsity. Like, you're not even good enough. So you too small. So my boy, we went to a summer league game. And we would always be in the park. My boy was like, yo, come to this summer league game with us today. You know, it's the varsity summer league game. And I told the coach, you know, about you. And he going to check you out. I was like, bet. So I'm ready. And we get to the game. I don't play in the first quarter. So I'm sitting there like, man, I could have stayed in the park for all this mess right here. So then it was like maybe 4 minutes left in the second quarter. He puts me in the game. Like the coach was watching, his brother was coaching. He puts me in the game, and I scored like 12 points. You know, had like three threes, a layup, a fat free. They looking at me like, who is this little kid right here?
Who?
But
Mike James.
everyone was like, yo, like, who is this kid? And I just came from out of nowhere. You know, and that was like one of my first memories because I was always that kid that was always overlooked. And I would always be the main one that's counting on me, that's vouching for me. And then everyone else would have all the other people, you know, they group backing them. And I would walk into the gym. Next thing you know, I'm the best player there. And everyone's like, yo, who are you? Where did you come from? Who is this kid? And so that was probably one of my first little, you know, stories of really like making a name for myself.
Later on, we're going to get to that, but kind of seems that that deal right there where you always vouching for yourself, that followed you into the NBA, right? That same thing where nobody's checking for this guy, Mike James, and it's you that's working and putting on for yourself and making your own name that way with nobody talking for you.
You know, Quentin Richardson, he was playing with the New York Knicks at the time. And, you know, I just got my tattoo, Amityville Horror. So he was like, we was playing in New York. You know, this is when he first signed. And he was like, Amityville Horror? He was like, man, who calls you the Amityville Horror? He was like, you get yourself that name? Like, this is what he said to me. And I was like, nah, this, I'm from Amityville, and this is my name. And I think I had like 30 that game. And ever since that game, every time he see me, he'd be like, Amityville Horror, what's good, Amityville Horror? But at first he questioned, like, man, you calling yourself that for? Like, man, ain't nothing scary about you. And then it's just like, I've always had to earn my name. I always had to earn my stripes, no matter where I went. I may have started at the bottom, but it's like, man, my confidence almost looked arrogant, because no one else was really believing in me. So I had to be the one with the loudspeaker, like, yo, I'm here.
Right.
And I don't care what y'all say. I'm not going nowhere.
Right. So, Mike, with that mentality, being down here in the South now, living down here in the South, there's a big difference from the ball players in the South and the ball players coming up in the New York City area, the Mecca, so to speak, of basketball. So talk about a little bit about your mentality coming up through the ranks. Like you said, you were a youngin', you were small, the mentality that helped shape you into the basketball player you end up being today.
Oh, man. I remember one of my close friends, we still friends to this day. He just moved to the neighborhood in like 7th grade. And my house was right next to the park. And I could hear the basketballs bouncing. So it was after school, I was in my house, and I heard a basketball bouncing. So I looked out my mirror, and I saw this kid shooting. And I went out into the park and was like, yo, who you? He was like, I'm such and such, such and such. I just moved from, the city. I'm living out here now. I was like, hold up, dog. I don't really care about all that. Like, what you doing out here? What grade you in? I was like, listen, I'm the nicest out here. Yo, check up. Like, it was, that's the type of, but that's the type of mindset. And we became friends because of how, I was like, dang, he nice. Like, I gotta really play now, like, But it was like, yo, what you doing later? Hey, let's hang out. Let's go play to the park. But the only way that you can earn respect is not by what you talk about, it's by what you do out there. Whereas so many people was given like names and credibility based off of who they hang with, based off of who they playing with. Whereas in New York, you only get your respect by what you do on that court. And people are going to try to intimidate you and talk you out of your game and try to tough you and bully you. And if you're soft, that's going to be the thing that gets you out of the game instead of the game itself. And so you had to learn how to look at what people say and like, man, go on. I ain't nobody. We got referees out here. You ain't going to do nothing. And just play basketball and get it out of the toughness. And that's how I used to play the game. I would always strategically try to scare you. I would try to intimidate you and try to scare you. And then I'd be like, oh, okay, he ain't scared. I got to try something different now. But if I saw that you were scared and that really affected you, I'd be like, yeah, I got him.
Wow.
And so now I'm going to always do things like pump fake at you, elbow you on purpose, push you, because I know you're more focused on me intimidating you than you playing basketball. Now, that's your focus. But if I see you just as tough as me, I can't play that game with you no longer. I'm not even going to try because I'm wasting my time.
Was there a lot of that imitation factor going on in the New York City, the different boroughs, who's the king of New York and king of Queens, Brooklyn? Was there a lot of that, like, hey, I'm the king of New York, or nah, you the king of New York? Was a lot of that going on?
Growing up in New York, I'm from Long Island. So the city has their own little thing going on. The boroughs have their own little games going on, from, the Rucker, the PS8, the IS8 games, the private school, the public schools. Whereas on the island, we have our own little thing going on. And so I was one of the nicest on the island, but at the same time, my neighborhood was rough. So we had up top a borough mindset on the island, where most Long Island neighborhoods wasn't like my neighborhood. Whereas if you may go to the city and you ask somebody about Amityville, they may or may not know about Amityville. But if you go to anywhere on the island, they'll tell you, don't mess with Am. You don't go to Amityville. Like, Amityville ain't one of those places that you move on up to. Amityville is one of those places that you leave. And so when I was a kid, no one went to the playgrounds. Most of my friends, a lot of kids didn't go to the playgrounds that I grew up in. You know, they had basketball courts in the front of their houses, and their parents would be like, yo, you're not going to Bolden Mac Park. Like, it's too much going on. It's killing, shooting, they robbing, they gambling, it's hustling. It's too much stuff going on while the games are happening.
Damn.
You know, while the pickup is going like this, but everything on the outside is happening at the same time. And so you never know what's going to take place at any given time. And this is the type of environment that I had to learn how to be tough in.
So, as a youth from 6th, 7th, 8th grade going into high school, now you see it because I know you've been working with some of the youth here around and even different guys from around the country. Guys get in the gym, they get this cone work. What was it like for you? How are you getting your skill work? Like, you didn't have a guy coach. You didn't have someone going in teaching you this and that. Was that development made on the playground, or was there a gym? How did you get to where you were to be recruited to go play college ball?
Man, all we did was play. But I didn't play with my peers. I always thought I was better than my peers. You know, it was 5th grade, 6th grade. The teenagers in my town used to hate me. Cause I'll be like, I'll come to the park and be like, yo, who got next? They be like, come on, Mike, man, go play with your friends, man.
He was a
like,
bully,
get
man.
out of here, man. And you know, I had bigger brothers also. My brothers was real tough, so I used to talk crazy. And it's funny because my basketball used to get kicked in the street almost every other day. And I would throw a bottle on the court, but I lived so close to the courts that they would make me go get the broom to clean it up. But I would always be the one like, man, I'm playing. They'd be like, Mike, you not playing. I'm like, man, I got next. They'd be like, man, get out of here, man. You ain't got next. And somebody be like, man, I hate this little kid, man. They'll just take my ball, but man, get out of here, man. Like, and I'd throw a bottle and run. But it was like I always had that tough mentality. You know, I always wanted to play with the older guys. I used to watch the grown men play. I would just sit on my ball and watch them. And then I'll be like, ooh, I'm going to try that move. So when I go play against my friends, I would try the moves that I just saw. And then when I realized, like, yo, I'm better than all of y'all, I didn't want to play with y'all. I wanted to play with the teenagers and the kids that I'm in 6th grade, but I want to play with the high schoolers. I want to play with the grown men. So when I finally got the opportunity to play, they still used to get mad at me because I would pick on the ones that was just almost my size or the smaller ones, and I was hacking. I didn't know how to play. I just knew I wanted to be out there.
So what do you think about your take on how you came up and how your career ended up progressing, not having this like player development guy, skill guy? Do you think that it's overpopulated now? It's oversaturated with the social media, these young kids having a skill guy, or do you think there's a place for it?
It's a place for it. I think that, you know, you have to do individual work, you know, to perfect your craft. I think you need to have someone watching over you. Everyone has a coach. There's life coaches. There's coaches, professionals have coaches in golf. There's coaches in baseball. There's going to be a bat, you know, it's going to take you to the batting cage. So you have to have someone watching you, telling you where it's not looking right or you're not doing it the right way. But at the same time, these kids don't play. That's the difference. And so because they don't play, they only do individual work, they build a softness about them. They don't have that grit that we used to have. This grit came from, you know what, not only is he my opponent, but he's trying to hurt me. He's trying to like really like embarrass me out here. So they don't have that. And that's what taught me, you know, my aggression and my toughness and my will to win was first learning how to win on the playground, which was extremely hard because anybody will do anything if the game is tied up in this point game, and you know they'll beat you up for game point, but you had to learn how to play through that. You know, I look at someone like Michael Jordan. They always try to compare Michael Jordan to everyone, to the rest of you know, Kobe or LeBron James or any other great that comes even after them. And I'm always like, what no one really pays attention to was how tough Michael Jordan was. The whole entire NBA was trying to beat him down. They had a book called Jordan Rules, specifically talking about how to beat him up. And he was Michael Jordan with people punching, hitting him, kicking him, putting him in a headlock, and he was Michael Jordan. I don't know if LeBron James could have been LeBron James if they was kicking him, punching him, putting him in a headlock, trying to really beat him up, and he still has to be the king? I don't know. I can't say. But you know what? You look at the games that Mike was playing in, you be like, dang, they was trying to kill this dude, but he was still overpowering them, dominating them in the process of someone really trying to take your head off. It's hard to play like that. You run at me, and I know you about to hit me, man, I'm going to jerk, I'm going to jump. I'm not going to focus on that shot because I'm more prepared for the hit than locking in on playing the game.
So, Mike, you went ahead. You jumped a little ahead on us because we got some. We got a Jordan.
Y'all might have to cut. Y'all might have to cut.
No, this is
go
great.
Back, go forward.
We got a Jordan. We got a couple of Jordan questions. But look, we want to ask you your all-time starting five that you've ever seen with your eyes. No matter if you were amateur, you were a college player, you were a pro. What are the best all-time starting five players you've seen in your lifetime?
Wow.
Name household names or not household names?
I remember seeing Lamar Odom in high school. He was something type of special. You know.
Was he really 7 foot handling it?
Yeah, he was really, Lamar Odom was a point guard.
So on your starting five, you got Lamar Odom as your what position?
Oh, man. Hold on. You know what? I got to put Felipe Lopez in there.
Okay, you got two.
You know, Felipe Lopez. There was two people we seen on we're from Long Island, mind you, Long Island, and we on the Long Island Railroads, and I see pictures, big billboards of Felipe Lopez and Stephon Marbury. You know what I mean? I'm sitting there like, so I knew who they were even before I even encountered them, in competition on the basketball court based off of how much hype they had during an era where there wasn't no hype.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and so it was like watching, Stephon Marbury. I got to put him up there because these guys is what he could have left coming straight out of high school. And I've never saw a person shoot a jump shot and kick a person in the face. That was the first time. That was the first time I ever seen that in my life. A person shoot a jump shot and he hit the person in the face. Like, that's really a jump shot. Okay.
All right, so you got three. You're getting two more.
I got to go with two guys from my hometown. Neither one of them made it, but I can remember watching my boy Shim McCoy play football. We were like, this was like midget, little league, like the Pee-wee football. We were young, like 5th grade, 6th grade, and he was already cracking helmets. Damn. He was already... like he would come and be like, man, look what I did to somebody today. And he'll show me the helmet. And I'm looking at him like, dang. I never saw a person, he would hit home runs, strike people out, crack helmets, was good on the basketball court, good in every sport that he played. Like he was a pro. But he was an animal outside the sport. And so because of the lack of guidance, that took him to another route in his life. And there's another person, James Lofton, my boy Brim. I never saw. He was the first person I saw in 8th grade kick a 60-yard field goal, punt the ball like 50 yards, knocking everybody helmet off. Led our team in scoring rebounds in basketball. But he was an animal. But when he used to play, I would be in awe. Like, man, you are really, really good. Like, I would ask for your autograph if I didn't know you. And so watching them, on a scholastic level, really, they motivated me and inspired me in ways, even in the beginning, to go hard at my sport because I watched how hard they went. So it made me have to go, I want to be just as good or better at what I'm doing based off of how nice they were.
Y'all must have had some in the water out there on Long Island.
Yo, listen.
Y'all must have had some of that good alkaline water out there.
Man, to this day, though, honestly, our basketball team, like, to play Amityville basketball is like such a pride because our only focus is winning the state championship. You know what I mean?
Else
like,
mattered.
Man, it's like, we've had some greats come through AMU. AJ Price, Jason Frazier went to Villanova. He should have left straight out of high school. He messed his knees up in college and the opportunity, but he was ranked higher than Damon Stoudemire. I know, not Damon, What's the other Stoudemire? Amari Stoudemire. He was ranked higher than Amari Stoudemire coming out of high school, and that's when Amari left and he decided to go to Villanova. But you know, these guys won like 4 state championships in a row, and you know, there's so much talent in our community. It's like, yo, to play the game, you got to be nice to step on the park court. You got to be nice. So I was like, come on, dog. Go on, sit on the side, man. No hard feelings. You ain't good enough to play with us.
So, taking it to your high school, staying on scholastics, what kind of high school career did you have? And what did that lead to with your recruitment coming out of high school?
I had a good senior year, but we lost in the first round of the playoffs. Junior year, you know, we went to the we didn't go. We lost in the finals to go to the States. Sophomore year, went to the States. We lost. I was small. I had, you know, I averaged almost 22, made first team all Long Island as a senior, but everyone always overlooked me. Even my high school coach told me, "You're a Division II player." You know, like, don't even worry about it. Like, you're a D2 player. Like, you good. It's all good. And it was just like, hold up, dog. Like, I'm nice. Like, so here it is again. Yeah. I got to fit for myself. But it was just like, you know, no one really recruited me. I got recruited out the park, actually, to go to Duquesne. I was on my way to Riverside Junior College in California. It was like 3 or 4 of us in a package deal that was going to go to this JC. And my AAU coach, Gary Charles, with the Long Island Panthers. That's my dog. With Gary Charles with the Long Island Panthers. He called me. It was Saturday. He called me Saturday night. Mike, listen now. You got Duquesne coming tomorrow. You better not mess it up. You better not be late. And I'm not playing with you. You better play like a point guard. You better not be shooting all the balls, because he would scream out. Oh, he would rip me in games. I mean, we'll be in the game. Jim Boeheim, all the top schools in there. Mike, you effing nut, pass the ball. I'll be like, come on, coach. Like, you got.
At that time, did you know where Duquesne was even at?
No, that's the thing. It was funny because he was like, yo, Duquesne is coming to see you. And I said, Duquesne? I said, what is that, coach? He said, it's division. I said, is it D1? He said, yeah, it's D1. I said, where is it at? He's like, it's in Pittsburgh. He was like, it's D1, Atlantic 10. I said, all right, cool. We'll see. I didn't have no D1 schools looking at me anyway. So I didn't get recruited really high coming out of school. And so I did 2 moves. He saw me do 2. I put the ball through my legs. It was like a split the defense, put the ball through my legs, and came through the lane and dunked it. He said, I'm bringing you on a visit. It was Sunday. He said, we flying you out on Wednesday.
Hold on. Hey, he gonna let this last over there. That threw it to the leg and dunked it. Like, so you trying to tell Mike James was punching on people back then?
I had bunnies. I had a small window. Yeah. It was a small window of time I had bunnies. Like,
you a 1-leg guy or 2-leg guy?
It didn't matter. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. Like, when I came home from Redemption, mind you, we stayed, it was like this big building. We probably stayed on like the 5th floor, but the school was on the 1st floor. All the classes was on the 1st floor. So we used to have to run the stairs all day, every day. This is all we did all day, every day, is run the stairs. You know what I mean? So I guess, obviously, this helped me out. So when I got back home, I was kind of flying a little bit. Like, wait a minute, I can fly. And so, yeah. But then I lost my hops real fast.
Yeah, we know.
Too.
Yeah,
they didn't stay long.
We know you went to Pittsburgh. You know that the whole weather there and everything out there. You lost your bunny.
Nah, I got discouraged. That's how I lost my hops. I got discouraged.
You were doing too much work out there.
No, every time I tried to dunk on somebody, I would embarrass myself, and so it was like, I'm not trying this no more. I'm going to shoot a floater, like, because I could never dunk on nobody. They would like grab it out the air and like hold it and like come down with me and the ball. And I'll be like, that's not how it's supposed to go. Like, I'm getting these 2 points. But
when you went on this visit, did they fall in love with you, fall in like with you? How'd everything come about to you committing?
When I went on the visit, they saw me play. The head coach was John Carroll at the time. He never saw me play. Danny Holzer was the assistant that came and brought me down. So I played against the starting point, the 1 and 2 for the team. Killed them.
Killed
You know, killed them. They was like, dang, we didn't know you could play like that. So John Carroll signed me, you know, that day. And he was like, listen, it was the end of the year. It was like August, school about to start.
You supposed to be going to California.
Exactly. So he was like, listen, it's too late in the year for us to sign a scholarship. You just got to trust me. He wrote on a piece of paper, this is the secretary's number. You get all your information from here. This is the first day of school. Trust me, you got a scholarship, but this is where we want you to be. And I'm sitting there like, so am I coming?
Yeah,
But this is
back
how,
of the napkin,
on a
scholarship.
napkin.
no, it was like a little yellow.
So you got a post-it note for a
Look,
scholarship.
seriously,
Wow.
that's how you know he was just like, yo, we can't give you no paperwork to show you that you signed a scholarship, but just trust me. First day of school, you got a scholarship when you come here. You're coming here. I was like, okay. And that's how I signed with Duquesne.
So, Mike, you know, you played 4 years at Duquesne. This era right now is a one and done era. You know, it wasn't that many people going one and done back when you played, or if any. Talk to the people out there about the significance of staying 4 years in college, or even staying, you know, to your upperclassmen level versus people who want to come out and be one and done.
I mean, unless you're special, you know, there's always exceptions to the rules. But that means that those that are exceptions to the rules, that means that they hold their own against the professionals. That means that they completely dominate their peers, and they don't belong on this level. And so, okay, you should turn pro. But those 4 years, not only are you going to grow as an athlete, you're going to grow as a man, a young man. You go from a boy. When you go to college, you come to college as a boy. You know what I mean? You left high school. You've had 2 guardians or maybe 1 guardian, you know, watching over you, making sure that you do your homework, you have a curfew, you don't do this, you don't do that. But there's always someone like this in your face. When you go to college, you have to learn how to become mature on your own and be disciplined on your own. You have to learn how to understand, okay, I can go to this party tonight, you know, but I got this paper I got to do as well. But as a freshman, you still making those little young decisions. You excited to be out the house. You excited not to have guardians around you. And by the time you a sophomore, junior, you start realizing like, yo, I can't act this way no more. I got to start taking school more serious. By the time you're a senior, you know, you're not acting the way you acted when you was a freshman, but you're learning from those mistakes that you've learned earlier in your life. So when you exempt that and you go straight to the professional level, it's almost like having a cake in the oven and you got 20 minutes left for the cake. What that cake gonna do? That cake ain't ready. You know, that cake need its time in order to become something good, something delicious for everybody to enjoy. And I think a lot of times these kids, I want to play in the league. I want to get to the league so bad that you're not mature enough. So you might be skill-wise, you might be good enough. You might jump just as high as every person as a pro. You might be able to shoot just as good as everyone as a pro. But the problem is going to be, how do you handle yourself off the court? How do you handle yourself, you know, with crowds? And this comes from the level of growth that you experience from your freshman year to your sophomore, junior, to now being a senior. That's an inner growth that you learn. So it's not about being good enough physically. Of course, it's so many kids, but I don't think they're mature enough. And that's where college comes in and helps you, because you mature in those 4 years. You look at any freshman that's a senior, you notice a major difference in who they are from their freshman year to their senior year. That's an inner maturity. That's a maturity that they had to experience on their own with no one pointing a finger at them.
Playing in the A-10, when did you realize that you got a chance that I can do this for a living?
Funny story. My freshman year, John Carroll told me I was the worst basketball player he's ever seen play basketball. He told me, he'll rather have a starter, a walk-on start before I ever touch the court again. And I was terrified out there. And I have records in high school for shooting threes and hitting threes, and I'm a shooter. But now I'm in the game like I can't shoot. And so he gets fired my freshman year. And my sophomore year, I come back, I make third team All-Atlantic 10.
Who'd they hire?
Scott Edgar.
Okay.
And I made third team All-Atlantic 10 my sophomore year. My junior year, I kind of put up the same. I was feeling myself a little bit. Didn't really put in the work that summer, and I had like the same stats that I had my junior year, my sophomore year, my junior year. So it really wasn't no progression. And so I didn't make no team my junior year, so that bothered me a lot. So my senior year, I put in so much work. I bust my tail my senior year, and I was killing everyone. I mean, Katino Mobley this is when the A10 was one of the top conferences.
Yeah, Long Island.
Man, A10 was one of the top conferences in the country where we would get 6 teams, when NCAA tournament, we getting 6 and 7 teams, automatic bids coming out of the A10. It ain't no win the conference.
Yeah.
Or you go almost 2 games over 500, you going to the NIT. Wow. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's how tough the Atlantic 10 was at that time. And so my senior year is really when I said, you know what? I think I can be a pro. And so that's when I started putting in the work. And then when I didn't get drafted, it kind of hurt at the same time, watching the people that I was busting up get drafted ahead of me. But at the same time, I just was ready to accept my journey.
All right, this is a segment right here presented by Kicks Out of Life, rooted to the ground. Talk about our kick game right here.
Your kick game trash today, man.
Nah, man. Hey, listen, these are my Gore-Tex. I love Gore-Tex. Even got the Gore-Tex jacket, right? Water resistant Jordan 1s, man. I love these joints. I'm going to go over to Mike. Mike, I'm a festive guy. I got these Air Force Ones. I know you're an Air Force One guy. I'll only wear mine, though, in the month of December, right? So on all social media outlets, you can go to Kicks Out of Life. I did a little post in those. But listen, I'm a big Jordan 11 guy. My boy Everest got the snake skin Jordan 11 lows.
Only Jordans I like are Jordan 11 lows. I'll never wear a high top Jordan. It's just so bulky.
Yeah, Mike was telling early, man, being in Fondy, seeing you walk in with those Air Force Ones, custom, that's a big deal now. You were doing that 10, 15 years ago, man, but we wanted to gift you a little gift right here since I know you love those Air Force Ones, man.
Man, that's from Kicks Out of Life right there.
Kicks Out of Life right there. Just a little something, man, for you, man.
Flavor right here.
Yeah.
I like that little back right there.
Okay.
You know, me and you the same size, so it's hard to pass those up.
Yeah,
so
I appreciate this, man. You know.
Hey, Mike, being from New York, tell the people out there just what like Air Force Ones mean to people who are from New York as opposed to people who are from other parts of the country.
Man, like you got you a fresh, crispy pair of Air Force Ones on. That's like a pair of that's like Pradas. That's like Louis Vuittons. That's like Jordans. You know what I mean? Like you have to keep at least 2 pair of clean white on whites other than the white on whites that you already wearing. You know, you gotta make sure that you stay, like your ones gotta be crispy. And when they start bubbling in the front, it's a wrap. Like, you know, I think mine's bubbling a little bit, but at the same time, Air Force Ones is that's our signature shoe. You know, that's what New Yorkers. So you see a person with ones on, they mean that. Ones and Timbs.
Is that what they call like uptowns though?
Uptowns.
Okay,
them uptowns right there. That's facts.
Hey, that's rooted to the ground. Presented by who?
Kicks Out of Life, baby.
Appreciate it,
telling
man.
Stories through kicks, and we hope you'll take a kick out of life with us.
All right, Mike, we back again. We back. We had to take a short pause. You know, we had to get a little water break. It's raining outside. You know, the weather out here in Houston is crazy. But we last left off at you talking about your 4-year career and being undrafted. Going into summer league, you put up amazing numbers during summer league that year. There was no social media back then. There was no Twitter, X, Y. It was none of that back then. So what would you say to players nowadays that go into summer league hoping to get that 15th, 14th roster spot as opposed to when you came up in summer league?
Man, summer league is like a whole season in itself. They got their own little set of groupies. They out there, like they out there got like it's like their own little world, and it's crazy. It's like it's all the games are televised. It's major networks, televising the games all day, and it's like when we played. Summer League was for the front office. It was for the general managers and the coaching staffs, and for them to evaluate whether or not you was good enough to come to veteran camp. That's all Summer League was for. Now, you play well in Summer League, you're almost guaranteeing yourself a spot on a roster just by having a successful Summer League. Whereas when we was playing, all Summer League meant was good job. You didn't get cut yet. Like, you still got a chance to get cut, but at least you get to make it to training camp now. Well, but guess what? Whatever you did in Summer League, don't bring that in training camp. Only thing Summer League did was give you the opportunity to keep going forward.
So you used to bust heads though in Summer League. We looked up the numbers. You was averaging over 30 points in Summer League.
But understand, when I played in Summer League, I played 3 years in Europe already. And so before I even got an opportunity to be seen in front of an NBA team, I was already like, I was already, I was seasoned already.
Right.
And so by the time I got to Summer League, I was already playing 3 years professional in Europe. And then I finally got the opportunity to, that story is a funny story in itself. How I even got to Miami, it's crazy how I got to. This is how I got to Miami before we even go to Summer League.
All right,
Ed Pickney had a summer basketball league in Miami.
Okay,
and it was just like a regular, it was like Fondy, like the Fondy Nike Pro-Am.
Okay,
and he had a bunch of pros playing on. He had pros playing in the summer league. This was my fourth. This was my third year. My fourth year. I played 3 years in Europe, so this was going into my fourth year. And my agent said, "I have a summer league that I want you to go to. This may open up some doors. We don't know what may happen with it." So I was like, "All right, cool, I'll go." And we was playing against the USA Select team. Jason Williams was on the team. Steve Blake was on the team. It was that year that USA team, Jason Williams from Duke.
Yeah.
And so the first game that we scrimmaged against them, they didn't put me in at all. I ain't play at all. So I'm sitting on the bench. I'm mad now because I'm out here. I don't know nobody. And, I'm not playing. And so don't nobody know who I am. So they only playing the people that they know. And then Jay Wright.
Yeah,
Villanova. He used to coach at University of Hofstra, right?
Yeah.
That was my backyard.
Long
so
Island.
all through high school, we would always play. Hofstra would always run pickups, in the evenings during the week, while we was in high school. So we would always go to Hofstra to go play against the Hofstra players and other players. And so Jay Wright always got to see me. So he always knew who I was. And so when he saw me at the summer league, he said, "Mike James," he said, "Listen," he turned to Ed Pickney. He said, "Listen, this is one of my biggest regrets as a head coach was not signing him. He was in my backyard. I had him every single day, watching him grow from his freshman to his senior year, playing with us, and I never looked at him. And when I see him, who the player he is now, he was like, I'm telling y'all, this kid can play right here." And when they said that to Ed was like, "Oh, okay, Jay Wright vouching for you. He just won a world championship."
Right.
You know what I mean? So he's one of the highly respected coaches. So they was like, "All right, we'll give him a chance to play." So the next day we played against them again. And I didn't start, but they put me in like 3 minutes left in the first quarter. And Steve Blake couldn't get the ball over half court. Like, him and Jason Williams couldn't get the ball over half court.
You was on them.
Man, every time they took 2 dribbles, the ball was going the other way.
Damn.
I'm laying it in. Like, I was just, I was a dog. And it was like, wow, who is this kid? So I wind up making the all-star team, playing in the summer league all summer, averaged like 30-something for the summer league. And then my wife at the time, she was pregnant with my firstborn. And so we had a championship game that following week. And the Miami Heat was going to come watch the championship game because Ed Pinckney been talking to them about, yo, I got some really good players that's in our summer league. So Miami was like, okay, we'll come watch. But I was like, man, I can't do it. I got to go see my firstborn being born. So I missed the championship game, and they signed They signed 2 players that year from the league.
Damn.
You know, they signed them that year. And so I went back overseas, that season. So they was watching me. They didn't really, I had a really good season, but they didn't really think I was as good as I was.
Right.
So going into the next summer, they brought me into a weekend workout, like a 3-day workout,
Yeah.
but it was like maybe 20-something veterans there.
Like a little mini camp.
Yeah, like a little mini camp, but it was like 10, 15 point guards, like 10, 15 like big men for one position that they was looking for.
Damn.
They was trying to sign one big man and they was looking for one guard. So I was there the first 3 days, killed everybody in front of me. They said the last day, Mike, we couldn't really evaluate you in those 3 days. Can you stay another week? I said, yeah. Like, so they brought in like another 30-something players.
Damn.
All guards, all big men. It was myself and Malik Allen.
Okay.
We were killing everybody. You know what I mean? And then they said, Mike, we couldn't evaluate you in a week. Can you stay another week? I said, yeah. They brought in another 30 players because they was like, yo, this kid can't be this good. So they brought in even more veterans. And all I kept saying to myself was, it's a wrap. Ain't nobody, I'm in the building. Ain't nobody getting this spot now. Like, I don't care who you are, I'm here. The hardest part was getting here. And now that I'm here, I refuse to let anybody take this spot. I'm talking about, I was picking up everybody 95, 96 feet. The court is only 94
About to
feet.
the court, 94 feet. You was picking them out of bounds.
Listen, I made everybody mad at me. They all wanted to fight me. I'm picking you up 95 feet.
Wow.
And when you try to do the same thing I'm doing to you, I'm going to cut you up. Like, I'm going to cut you up. You can't guard me, but I can guard you. And so they signed me to a partial deal. They was like, yo, we're going to partially guarantee you because they was like, yo, obviously this kid is this good. So then they partially guaranteed me. I get cut. The last cut for Rod Strickland, right? At the end of the, Rod Strickland comes in, they cut me for him. And I was like, man, I'm going back overseas. I got an MBA on my resume now. I said, I'm going overseas now. And Chet Cameron was the head scout for the Miami Heat at the time. He said, Mike, listen, out of sight, out of mind. If you leave, they're going to forget about you. You've done great this year. I said, all right, cool. I'll go to the CBA. So I went to the CBA. It was horrible. I was in Saskatchewan, and the first 5 games that I played, I think I averaged like 5 points, but I was averaging like 4 for 25 every night.
Damn.
Like, I could not score. I couldn't make a layup. I couldn't do nothing right. And I remember calling my wife one night, and I said to her, I said, I can't do this no more. I was in tears. We was at the airport. We was about to get on the plane to leave Saskatchewan. I was like 4 for 35 for the game. I was like, I can't do this no more.
Man,
you
put up 35 shots?
I was putting up, listen, it wasn't about the fact that the ball going up. That wasn't the problem. The problem was I wasn't making nothing. And I said to my wife, I said, yo, I can't do this no more. I said, I'm done. I can't play basketball. I said, I think too highly of myself. I believe that I wasn't a 10-day contract type of person.
Right.
I'm not a 10-day contract person. And so big ups and no disrespect to the people that are fighting for their careers and they go to the NBA for 10 days and back to the G League for the remainder of their career and then 10 days back. I was like, I'm not doing that. I said, I'm done. I quit. I'm leaving this team. I was like, I don't want to play basketball no more. And so my wife, she didn't know what to say to me. Nobody knew how to console me. But what was crazy was after that conversation, The next 2 weeks in the CBA, I was averaging almost 40, 15 assists, 12 rebounds, 7 steals. I'm talking about my numbers was so crazy. Greg Popovich, I was like player of the week 2 weeks in a row. Greg Popovich, if I would have known better, this is probably one of my biggest regrets as a professional athlete, was not taking that 10-day from Greg Popovich, because they said, we bringing you on a 10-day. And I was so excited. I called my people because I built relationships with my people in Miami. And I said, I'm going to San Antonio. I'm going to San Antonio. They said, what? Hold on. We're going to call you right back. I said, okay. They called me, the general manager at the time called me back in 10 minutes. And he was like, yo, we're going to guarantee you for the whole year. We want you to come back yesterday. We love what you've been doing. And the only reason why they put that pressure was the fact that somebody else was coming after me. But I think that if Greg Popovich would have had an opportunity to see a player like me, he was the type of coach that didn't care about the past of where you come from. He only cared about the present and what you're doing. And so I think that my career may have been different. Who knows? But at the same time, you know, Miami signed me, and that's when my career started in the NBA. And after that, you know, they signed and guaranteed me for the remainder of the year, and that's when my career just went, and that's when I consistently started playing in the NBA.
So I want to that's a great story about how your NBA career started. But I want you to talk to some of the youth out there, and I want to just hit the reverse just one quick second on the overseas part of your career, which prepared you to be mature, come into the summer league and can know how to handle yourself the right way. I coached overseas for 5 years, and before I went overseas, the only thing you hear about is coaching in NBA. That's like the end all be all. But there's so much more opportunity outside of the NBA that a lot of youth, they know more now, but maybe when you were coming up, they didn't really understand a lot of the overseas game. So talk to the youth out here just to give them, say, hey, if you don't have an opportunity to play in the NBA right away, there's so many other opportunities around the world to see the world, have a great career, and that really kind of be like your proving ground to come back to the NBA, like yourself, like a Brandon Jennings, like a lot of these guys that went overseas and then came back.
You wonder why you'll get so many good players, European players, because they started playing professional ball in high school, in middle. If they see that a kid is talented, they're going to take them out of school, they're going to homeschool them, and they're going to put them on a professional team. And now their career is going to continue. They're going to continue to keep playing against grown men while they're children. So that's the reason why you will see someone like a Luka, you know, Doncic, and then you wonder, why is he so good? Because he's been playing against elite players since he was in 7th, 8th grade. And so I think that my time in Europe, it allowed me to evolve. Why? Because I got a chance to play. You know, most kids, they have this idea of NBA or bust. Okay, you get on an NBA team, you're not guaranteed, you're not going to play. You know, you just got the socks. You just got the deal. But at the end of the day, you're a 13th man. You're a 14th man. You're not even you're not even in rotation. You're just on the roster. So why not go overseas in the beginning of your career and get that experience and get the only way that you can get experience is by being in the game. You can't get the experience by just being there, watching other people play. And so that's the problem a lot of times with the youth is they'll accept the socks over playing. And it's about the love of the game. And you're supposed to be thankful, one, that you're still able to make money playing a game and doing something that you love doing. So whether it's the NBA, whether it's Europe, it shouldn't matter. You're still getting paid to play a sport that you love, and it's only a small, short window. So why waste most of your career chasing after a roster spot that you're not even going to play on, instead where you can go overseas, kill over there, make some real money, and they're paying your taxes. So everything that you bring back is your money, plus you over there, so you're not really even spending money. You ain't really have to, because they're going to take care of everything for you. They're going to get you your house. They're going to get you your car. They're going to get you, so you don't have to. So only thing you're really going to be doing over there is stacking and playing. Whereas over here, all you're going to be doing is sitting on the bench and spending. And so you have to understand, if you love this game and you want to play this game, well, then it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be NBA where you're going to make your money playing this game.
But some players, as we both know, being in NBA, they're just happy to be here. I'm in the NBA. I'm on a roster spot. I'm on the charter. I'm getting the Ruth Chris on the plane. I'm getting the gear. They just happy to be here, even though they never gonna play. They're just basically a scout team. Talk about some of those experiences where you seen guys that were in those spots where you actually had to give them some of your game when you started coming up into the league.
I remember my rookie year, Anthony Carter. He was the starting point guard for the Miami Heat at the time. And I can remember we was in practice. Pat Riley used to make us ride the bikes every morning. And we had to get our heart rate to like 145, and he used to put like the little strap meters on us.
The little polar.
So it ain't like we can lie. It ain't like we can act like we pedaling hard. He be looking at that camera.
That was my job. My job was to put the little strap on y'all bench in y'all locker. Y'all look at it like, what the hell is this? Get it off my chair.
No. They look at it like, okay, he not working. He not working.
Load management. Hey, load man before load management. What's your load today?
But I can remember being on the bike and I was listening to Anthony Carter talk. And he was like, man, I'm really kind of tired of playing in this game, man. I might play 1-2 more years. I don't even really want to play no more. Like, this game ain't the same, yada, yada, yada. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to him, and I found myself like pedaling real hard. And I'm getting angry right now because I'm listening to him talk. And I'm just like, yo, I want your spot. I want this. I want to be in the game. I want to, and when I finally caught myself, man, my heart rate was dang near at 160, 170. And I had to like, whoa, let me really chill out right now. But I was so locked into his conversation, and it disgusted me what was coming out of his mouth. And I was sitting there like, yo, this is the greatest show on earth, and you got an opportunity, and you sitting over here complaining. And I was just in such a angered moment, because I'm like, I'm over here busting my tail, and you got it good, and all I'm waiting for is my chance. Because when they give me my chance,
it's over with.
Oh, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. But it's guys like you that's playing in front of me that I gotta watch you play when you really don't even want to be out there.
So we hear a lot of, as a retired strength and conditioning coach, I know a lot about what the Miami Heat culture is with the whole conditioning situation. A lot of my mentors were OGs. A lot of the old Miami Heat, Coach Ferran, those guys were OGs back in the day.
Yeah. So
you hear a lot about this whole Miami Heat culture. Tell the people, give the people behind the curtain of what that whole conditioning culture is, how to keep your body in tip-top shape when you're not playing, coming in early, 3 hours before practice, coming in before games, get on the court 2 hours before the game, workouts after the game. Talk to some of these youth out here what it's like just to keep your body and your mental ready when your numbers are going to be called.
This is what shaped me. I didn't know, after my stint in Miami, I didn't know no other way. It was like they created like a monster. I was always the first one in the gym, last one to leave. They tested every week you're getting your body fat tested. You better not come over. If your body fat is this, you better not come back 1% above that.
Who you saw come back overweight? So you ain't gotta get no names.
Oh,
but what the person you saw that came back overweight?
No, nobody played with Pat. Nobody played with Pat Riley. And the beauty was, mind you, we in Miami. So, nightlife is amazing. Life in Miami is amazing. So it was one of those things where you had to ask yourself, count the cost. I
heard a story that some clubs had basketball courts in there. So
man, listen, get some shots up or something. Help us out, man. Count the cost. Listen, on one hand, I want to go out tonight. Man, it's going to be popping in the city tonight. On the other hand, we got practice in the morning. Pat gonna kill us. I'm not going nowhere tonight. So it was one of those things that you know you're in an amazing city, but at the same time, you like, I'm not playing with Pat Riley. Like, he gonna kill me tomorrow. 'Cause I know if I'm only getting 2 hours of sleep, that ain't working with him. Every single morning, you going to work a certain type of way at a high level. Everything you did, every drill, and he don't care if you the superstar or you the 15th man on the roster. He not playing with you when it comes to your strength and your conditioning.
So we've heard Pat Riley got some OG. He got the slick back. He got the mafia ties. Don't F with Pat Riley. So tell us a story. You got an interesting story about how you and Pat Riley got into a little something when you was there. Give the people to tell them about this story.
Pat was great. I think that everybody respected him. Everyone, like, you never really knew where you stood with him, because he wouldn't talk to you for 2-3 days, and then on the 4th day, he'd be like, "How you doing? How your mama doing? How your family doing?" And you sit there looking at him like you on the elevator, just looking at the numbers like, "Man, please hurry up and open." Like, this guy. But I can remember my second year, I think it was, I shot a shot in the game, and he like subbed me right out. And I was like, "Yo, are you serious? Like, wait a minute. You just subbed me after one shot that I missed?" So I waved him off. Oh. And he looked at me and was like, he cussed me out. This is a game, mind you. He cussed me. He walked me to the bench, was like, "Don't you ever wave me off, you MFer. I'll have you out of this league faster than you came in this league. I'm the one that found you. I'm the one that..." And so he's steady talking. And while he's talking, it's going in one ear and out the other, but he's ripping me right now. And so maybe 3 weeks later, a month later, we in practice and we're scrimmaging. And the loser at the scrimmage, our scrimmages used to be so competitive because the loser would always have to run like suicides after practice or 10s or something crazy. So you didn't want to lose. So we scrimmaging, and I remember playing against Eddie House, and I ripped him. And Keith Askins called a foul on me. So I was like, "That's bull crap, Keith. You know that wasn't no foul." So I waved him off. I turned my back on him and I waved him off. And he said, "Mike," he cussed me out. Like, he literally cussed me out good too. "You MFer, don't you ever wave me off. Da-da-da-da-da." And Pat Riley said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa." He blew his whistle. He said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, Keith, whoa, whoa." He said, "Keith, who the hell you think you are?" He said, "If he could wave me off, he damn sure could wave you off." And I was sitting there like, Pat had my back? Like, wait a minute. Like, I wasn't prepared for Coach Riley to have my back. But this is how he was, where I can remember one time in the game, Pat didn't talk to me, mind you, for about a week now. He ain't even say hello for about a week now. We in the game, and I did something, and I started yelling at the ref. So, I'm a rookie. So the ref cussed me out. You don't talk to me like that. You shut the hell up and you listen to it. You know how they'll talk to a young player. So they're giving me that. So Pat was like, hold up. You don't dare talk to my players like that. If you got any problems with anybody, you come talk to me, and you ain't damn sure ain't going to talk to me like that." But I was like, Coach is sticking up for me right now? Like, wow. And he didn't talk to me for like a week. So, but he was the best. Highly respected, everything that he was able to teach me in my career. Like, what he embedded in me in the beginning of my career, he used to do he was such a motivational speaker. Every single morning, he'll have a motivational speech for us. Every game, he'll have something to the point where I'll be like, "Man, what is this dude going to say today?" And after he's done, I'm like, like, I'm wiping back tears, and he would get me all the time. And I'll be like, he ain't getting me this time. And so I can remember this one game. We was getting ready for a game, and he made this statement, and this statement stuck with me my whole entire career. He said, "The way you respect a player is by not respecting them at all. And I had my head down. I don't know what I was doing, but I had my head down. And when I heard him say it, I was like, F him, coach? I was like, are you for real? Like, F him. I was like, the way you respect him is by not respecting him at all. And I took on that mentality.
Right.
So whoever I played against during the game, I really don't like you. After the game, hey, can I get an autograph? Like, you want to change jerseys? You want to? And they looking at me like, man, don't you ever talk to me another? Like, the way you treated me and the way you was acting in the game, don't you ever talk to me again?
Wow.
Because I was I have so much respect for you as a player. I don't respect you at all. Pat Riley told me that.
Wow.
And that's one of the things that stuck with me my whole career.
So moving on to the next part of your career, the NBA championship year with the Detroit Pistons. Now, the main thing I love as a young guy coming up, watching that team that year, it wasn't the Darko Milicic situation. It wasn't the Larry Brown situation. But you came to a team with 8 or 9 vets. And today's NBA, there's really no vets no more. We recently had one of the OG vets in the game, Udonis Haslem, got his jersey retired. Although he retired last year, he's one of the last true vets in the league. So tell the people about that one season that you played with the Pistons. Talk about that championship run. Talk about some of those OGs that you were around that gave you a lot of confidence, gave you a lot of game. Know you got that nickname of one of the pit bulls with you and Lindsey Hunter in the backcourt. Talk about that team.
Oh man, the only reason why Green plays for Golden State.
Draymond Green.
The only reason why Draymond Green, I gotta vouch because I don't like his game, but I gotta say he's a Hall of Famer. And the only reason why, because a person will put up the argument, well, Ben Wallace is a Hall of Famer. And what I saw from Ben, he deserves to be a Hall of Famer. What he accomplished at his position, at his size, it won't ever happen again. What he was able to do on a defensive end was he was our captain, our general. Everything went through him. But then we had crazy Rasheed Wallace. You know what I mean? That was such a time bomb that everybody hated. But for whatever reason, he flowed with the team. And then you had Rip Hamilton, Chauncey Billups, Tayshaun Prince. Everyone at that time was starting to come into their own. They wasn't the man yet, but now they're starting to get recognized as being really good players in the NBA. And it just so happened we were all on one team. But really, everyone was considered at one point in time in their career as misfits. You know what I mean? So it was a band of misfits really on one team. And it was the best team I've ever been on in my life. Like,
give us a funny story. Give us one behind the scenes funny story that hey, probably shouldn't say this, but give us a funny story about that year and that team. Because I know Rasheed Wallace, because I know somebody that worked with the Portland Trail Blazers. I know Rasheed Wallace at the beginning of the year, he wrote a blank check and said, "Find me, I'm not going to work out." So I know that for sure. Because I know somebody, I know that story. He ain't like to do no weights.
Yeah.
And as a strength coach, that's our thing, lift you twice a week type situation.
Yeah.
So give us a funny story from behind the scenes that that probably nobody know about.
Oh, wow. I'll tell a funny story about myself
All right.
on that team.
All right.
There was a player named Tremont Folks. He played with us. He wasn't really playing a lot, but he was on the team. And we used to always like joke a lot with each other. And we'll prank each other. And it was like, always fun. And I remember this one time I threw water on him. Like a cup of water on him and ha, laughing. So we in the shower now, but it's just Rasheed and myself. So Rasheed is the only one that knows this story. Like, And every time he sees me, he always laughs about this story, but he's the only one that saw everything that happened. So we in the shower showering, you know, that's what, like, that in the practice, we showering. Tremaine walks into the shower with a big bucket of ice water. And I got all this soap on my face. I'm soaped all the way up. And I'm like, oh man, like, come on, T, like, chill now. Like stop playing, like, you doing too much. So then I tried to act like I was going to grab, like I was acting like I was doing something. I tried to hurry up and push the bucket away. And he threw the bucket of ice water on me. But mind you, I got soap in my face. I got soap everywhere. So now my eyes is burning. So now I'm mad. So I went from he to like, you playing with me now. So I went to grab him. So he had all his clothes on. I'm naked. And so I went to grab him. And when I went to grab him, he was running from me now, and he cut hard, right? And as I grabbed him, I slid into the training room, right? so I'm going this way, so I'm holding on to him, and so I'm sliding into the equipment room now. So I slid, boom, hit the wall, all the basketballs and everything is falling on me now, and I'm naked. I'm so mad right now.
Mike Abdenauer coming out looking for you.
I'm so angry right now. All I want to do is fight. So, all right. So now I'm talking crazy. You know, the front office, everybody is in the locker rooms or whatever, and they all looking like, man, what's wrong with you? But if you look at everybody's like, yo, like have this puzzled look on their face, like, what's wrong with you? And if you look at Rashid, he's on the ground crying, like he's in tears because he saw it all happen. But I'm not paying attention to him. I'm not listening to him. I'm just naked and I want to fight. And Tremaine, he's running around like, so if I go this way, he'll go that way. If I go this way, so mind you, I'm just slanging like this. All the players come out, and Ben looked at me and said, "Hey, Mike, hey player, yeah, I know you mad and all, and I know you want to fight, and I respect you for that. But you know what? Come on, player, go and put this towel on right here, please. Do us all and he said it so calm. He was like, yo, do us all a service, man, please. We don't want to see you no more. Like, and so I'm trying hard not to laugh. I'm trying so hard to stay angry. But Rashid, for one, he's crying the whole time. Ben just did that to me. So I'm like inside my head, but I'm like this on the outside. And as I drove home, I was thinking about it, and I wanted to fight him so bad. But then when I was thinking about it, I was like, yo, I can't believe this just happened to me. And I was just laughing so hard at the situation. But yeah, that was one of those interesting moments.
So the last part of the Detroit Pistons, then we'll get into some of these. We're in Houston. We'll get into some of these Rockets memories. But coming from where you came from, Amityville, coming from the park where you say you sat on the basketball, watched the OGs play, going overseas, getting cut the last day of training camp, all these things led up to you becoming an NBA champion. How did you feel that moment where you spent all these years culminating to this point?
Me personally, I wanted my own. That was Chauncey Billups' championship. I was like, I can remember before Chauncey and I we was about to meet at like half court after, the confetti and all that, and the game is over. And I just looked at him, and I was so happy for him. And I was like, boy, you've been through so much up until this point. And I was just like, I'm gonna get mine too. Like, I want my own championship. And that was the first thing came to my head. Like, I want my own now. Like, I want to be the starting point guard and win a NBA championship. I was so happy to be on that team. I was so, but in all fairness, it was like, man, I want my own. And I think that was the first thing that really popped in my head. A funny story again. I used to always talk about how I used to kill Chauncey and Rip. Like when I was on other teams, because I got traded to Detroit. So I used to be like, yo, y'all not like that. I used to kill y'all. And they used to be like, Mike, you not nice. Like, get out of here. Like, you're not even that good. And so it was the end of the season. We getting ready to play against Milwaukee in the playoffs. And we just had a meeting with Larry Brown, and Rip Hamilton goes, yo, team, let's meet in the locker room, because we got a serious little meeting that we want to talk about. We want to talk about some stuff going into these playoffs, how we supposed to be a team and how we supposed to get down. So, we all go in the locker room. We getting ready for the playoffs. They had a 5-minute clip of all my bad plays edited. They had to, and so we sat there, and I'm sitting there for 5 minutes watching turnovers, watching them steal the ball, watching Ben block my shot, but it was nothing but all my bad plays against Detroit.
That's funny.
And everyone's laughing and dying, and they ha 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 ha. And I did just like this. All right. I'm on, y'all. I can't wait to play against y'all again. So for my whole career, whenever I saw Rip and Chauncey, it was always just like,
it was on.
Oh, man, I want your neck right now for what you did to me.
So, Mike, you played on a dozen, almost a dozen teams, but you played for a very long time in the NBA. But you made a home in Houston. You live here. You spent 2 different stints with the Rockets. Talk about to the fans here in Houston what those Rockets teams meant to you. You played with T-Mac, you played with Yao, you played with all these great guys that are known as quote-unquote Houston legends. Talk to the people about just what it was like putting on the Rockets uniform. Although I know you had some brief stints with the Rockets, but what did that mean? And then ultimately led you basically setting up shop and living here.
I was already living here.
Oh, really?
And so when I got the opportunity to play for the Rockets, it was like, man, I'm going back to where I'm living. So that was exciting, one in itself. And the first conversation that Jeff Van Gundy had with me, he said, mind you, I've never had a coach ever in my life say this to me. He said, I just want you to, I know you don't know no plays. I know this is the beginning, like it's going to be a little hard for you to figure it out, but I just want you to just play and just go out there and just be free. I said, excuse me? I said, whoa. I said, you what? He said, yeah, I just want you to go out there and just play and just be free. I said, oh man, it's a wrap. I was averaging like 19 points, like 5 assists for like the first 6 games. This is when Bobby Sura was hurt. I was averaging like 19 and 6, and we was like 4 and 2, as me as a starter. The 7th game, Jeff Van Gundy calls all of us together, and he basically says, David Wesley, John Barry, Bobby Sura, all of us, he called us all in like an office, and he said, okay, Mike, Bobby Sura is starting tonight. You're coming off the bench. You should even be happy that you're even in the league. I said, okay, like that's not the right way to do it, but all right, cool. So I come off the bench now, but this is how his approach was to me. And he did the same thing the next game we were playing against Phoenix. He did the same thing that Pat Riley did to me. So after he had me coming off the bench for Bobby, he subbed me in the game with like 6 minutes in the first quarter. I shot 1 shot, missed it. He subbed me right back out.
Damn.
I said, oh, so this is how you going to treat me. You went from telling me to play free and telling me, and I'm averaging almost 19 a game, to now you're going to sub me out every time I do something that you don't like. So I said, all right, cool. Mind you, we was down by 20 in that game. I didn't play the third quarter. I had like 20 in the fourth quarter. We beat Phoenix by 20. And I had my chest poked out a little bit. Like, yeah, you should be playing me. But I was still coming off the bench after that. Like, he was like, Bobby Sura's the starter. But I can remember I used to walk through I used to take the elevator to the gym because I wouldn't take the stairs, because when I go up the elevator to the gym and I walk through the tunnel, I would always look at all the retired jerseys. Every single morning I used to do this. I would look at the retired jerseys and I used to always be like, my jersey going to be right there. And that's what I never said that about no other city, no other team I've ever been on. But when I was in Houston, for whatever reason, I used to always say my jersey's going to go right there. And when I did what I did in Houston, I can remember even when we was in the playoffs, We played Dallas in the playoffs that season, and we lost in 7 to Dallas. Game 6, we was down 3-2 to Dallas. We lose this game. We're not gonna we go home. Game 6, I had like 28 in game 6, and I can remember fouling Dirk out in the fourth quarter, and I was so hyped and I was so juiced, and I looked at the bench, and Jeff Van Gundy, he was grabbing his hair like this, like he was gonna pull his hair out, and like he was so scared, like what is this dude doing out here? And I looked at him, and I said, "Man, calm down." I ain't say it like that. I had some other choice words, but I was literally like, "Man, calm down. I got this." He looked at me. He called a 20-second timeout just to curse me out. He cursed me out, literally was like, "Yo, who the F you think you are? You ain't sugary. I'll have you out of this league so fast." And I couldn't really believe what was happening right now. Because I was like, wait a minute. This ain't the regular season. Like, this is the playoffs. This is for the championship.
Right.
So I turned my back on him, and I started talking to myself because I still had to hit a free throw. And all I kept saying was, "Mike, hit this free throw. This ain't the regular season. This is the playoffs. Don't even listen to what this man is saying right now." And, you know, it was such a victory for the team and individually. But it was crazy because I was going home hurt. I was going home with my feelings hurt. While everybody looking at me excited and happy, we going to game 7. I'm sitting there like, man, I can't believe this dude just talked to me like this. I can't believe. I'm like, dang, even when I do good, I still do wrong. And so everyone's like, yo, you should be celebrating. I was like, man, I just went home. I just went home and just was like, I was so distraught because it was like, even when I try to do right, I'm still doing wrong. So then it was funny to me because I can remember asking Jeff after the season was over. We got blown out in game 7. And, you know, the season is over. I got kicked out in game 7. Like, I got kicked out the game, or whatever happened. So I asked Jeff, you know, I asked him after the season. I thought that we had a relationship where I could ask him this. And I said, "Coach, let me ask you a question. Why wouldn't you start me in game 7 if you saw what I did in game 6 and you know Bobby's hurt? Because I'm the coach and you the player. And I make the decision." I said, "Hey, I was just I was curious. Like, where was your mind at, and what was your thinking on your strategy on how we gonna win this game?" And so he said that to me, and then I said, "Coach, what do you think about me? Like, seriously, like, what do you think about me?" He was like, "You're an arrogant, cocky SOB." And I said, "Man, that's what you get from me?" And the hard part was he believed that about me. But it was like, okay, I get it. Guess what? Nobody believes in me. I believe in me.
Right.
And I'm going to ride with me. And I'm going to ride loud when it comes to me. And people didn't like that because it was like, who validated you? Who told you that you can walk with your chest this big? Who told you to walk around the arena like you think your poop don't stink? Who told you that you're not a star? Matt can do it. Y'all can do it. But who said Mike James can do it? Nobody. So why are you walking around like this? And so nobody told me that I was a star, but I walked like I was a star. And they didn't like that coming from me for whatever reason. And so I can remember the playoffs, we lost in game 7. And two funny, because, you know, the year before I was with Detroit. This was 05. So the year we're playing against, we lost to Dallas. Detroit is playing against San Antonio for the championship now. It was Detroit and San Antonio. You know, Detroit was trying to win back-to-back. And they were down 2-0 to San Antonio. I called Chauncey, and I said, "Yo, what y'all doing?" He was like, "Man, you know, we struggling, da-da-da." I said, "Chauncey, listen. If y'all don't win the championship this year, it's a wrap, my dude." I said, "Houston's winning the championship next year." I said, "We got the best 2 guard in the NBA. We got the best center in the NBA." And I said, "Yo, all y'all are on watch next year. I'm putting all of y'all on watch. Every point guard is on assignment next year. Y'all not gonna be able to breathe around me next year, Chance." And he like, ha, Mike, you always talking crazy. You always talking mess. But I was like, "Nah, Chance, real talk." He was like, "Yo, I'm coming for all of y'all next year." Like, just know that. Like, I'm saying it nicely, but just know I'm coming for y'all next year. So I can remember, and I went to T-Mac house. This is when I should have known I was about to get traded. Like this should have been the sign of all signs to let me know, like, you know what?
Yeah.
I think I ain't gonna be here next year.
All right.
Especially if Mac don't vouch for you, of course, you know, they're gonna ask him, what do you think? And he was a little mad at me because I waved him off in the game before.
Oh,
like,
shit. Oh, yeah.
So I can remember being in this house and we was talking, and I said, Mac, listen, help me become an all-star. I said, help me become an all-star. I said, y'all got all the Chinese votes. I said, I'm playing with the best center and the best two in the league. I said, Mac, I'm not trying to be Batman, Robin. I said, I'm trying to be Alfred. I said, whatever y'all don't do, I'm trying to clean up. And I said, I got every guard next year, Mac. I'm telling you, I got every guard. He looked at me. I could have swore I was Kevin Hart. And I said, the funniest joke ever. Because he looked at me and he bust out laughing.
Damn.
And I was looking at him like, what's so funny? So in my head, what I did in Toronto, that's who I was.
Right.
That's what I was going to do in Houston.
Yeah.
This is what Houston was about to get. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is how I approached that summer. That summer, I went home. I played in the Rucker. I played in the New York. I wanted to let everybody know I'm nicer than all of y'all now. Like, everybody that was better than me in their career, this is when that series was over in the playoffs, and I was averaging like almost 16 a game, and it wasn't stop Yao or T-Mac, we win this series. It was stop Mike James. I said, oh, it's a wrap. I was like, oh, I'm good. I said, wait. Me? I'm good? I said, oh, it's a wrap. Y'all can't have this back no more. I'm nicer than all of y'all.
So, Mike, we're running out of time, but I got a couple more questions for you real quick. Give us your top, I'm gonna say top 5, but give us your Mount Rushmore of your hardest covers you ever had to guard in the NBA.
Oh, wow. I'm going to go first. Baron Davis. He was ridiculous for me to guard. Rod Strickland. And I caught Rod old, you know, and it was just practice. But when I came back to Miami and Rod was the starting point guard, he an old dude now in the NBA. And, you know, I was killing in the CBA finishes. So I was like, man, I'm coming for you, Rod. You the reason why I got cut. Man, I'm taking everything for you. And I see that you slow. Man, you ain't going to be able to get the ball over half court. I'm embarrassing you. When I tell you Rod was the first person who would make me like sit down Indian style and just listen to everything he said, because I never got cut up by a person the way I got cut up by Rod in practice. And he was the slowest person I ever met. So Rod Strickland.
Okay, so you got Baron Davis and you got Rod Strickland. You need 2 more.
Does it have to be players I played against in the NBA?
Yeah, we're talking about strictly NBA right now.
NBA games or
NBA? Well, you mentioned whatever. Just
because
whatever.
Tim Hardaway did me the worst I've ever been done in my life, but he did it to me in like a pickup game.
All right.
You know what I mean? Like, the game was 15 and he scored 15 straight on me. And I almost was in tears. I left the gym. I didn't go back to the gym the whole year. I didn't even want Tim to see me that whole season. I just went into the lab. No, literally, I went into the lab and I trained that whole entire remainder of that summer, had the season, and I couldn't wait to play against him that following summer.
All right.
So
you got Baron Davis, you got Rod Strickland, and you got Tim Hardaway. You need 1 more to round out your Mount Rushmore.
At the guard position.
It'd be 1 or 2, whatever.
I mean, you know, I guess, wow. I don't really know. I guess I'll put at the 2. I guess I'll put Kobe there.
All right. So you got your Mount Rushmore of Mike James' toughest covers: Baron Davis, Rod Strickland, Tim Hardaway, Kobe Bryant.
That's a mean list.
That's a great Mount Rushmore.
That's a mean list right there.
And you were picking them up how many feet?
Man, 95.
95 feet.
Only person, and the funny thing is this, only person I didn't pick up 95 feet was Rod Strickland.
Mm,
And he caught me as a young bull.
right.
And I'm picking him up, not even at half court, the hash mark.
Earlier in the show, you mentioned Michael Jordan, and everybody, I got on some Jordans. You wore Jordans. Jordan's everywhere. Jordan is Jordan. Tell the fans out there a really awesome story about Michael Jordan.
My greatest moment when I felt like I've arrived as an NBA player was when I was playing in Toronto and we're playing against Charlotte. And, I met Michael Jordan like some years before, and I can remember talking trash, being myself. It was him and Magic Johnson, and we was at a party All-Star Weekend, and I basically said, I'm an MJ too. I said, your name ain't Irvin, your name Magic Johnson. I said, the Michael Jordan, I said, I'm an MJ too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I was like, the greatest players, the greatest athletes got MJ. Like, MJ is initial, but I was like, I'm an MJ too. So I said this to Michael Jordan, right?
Wow.
So they yeah, that's cute, gone. And then we was playing against Charlotte, and I'm stretching and I'm getting ready for the game. And this is like 2 years later. I'm getting ready for the game. Michael's an owner, and he's walking past our area, and he sees me. And he said, MJ, what's up, MJ? I said, what's up, MJ? I said, MJ called me MJ. I said, oh my goodness. I said, I've arrived. I had such a bad game. I had such a bad game, right? We lost. I had a bad game. But we played Charlotte like 2 weeks later in Charlotte. I'm in the same area. I'm stretching. I'm getting ready for the game. Mike walks past it's almost like this is, like Groundhog Day or something.
Yeah.
Like it's happening all over again. So I'm waiting for him to call me MJ. Like I'm getting up for it. Like I'm stretching, touching my toes. And he said, Michael, how are you? I said, wait a minute. Like, I was like, you ain't gonna call me MJ? It was like one and done. Like it was almost like he felt crazy calling me MJ. But at the same time, that was probably one of my greatest moments because I was such a fan of his. It was nothing he could ever do wrong. He was a basketball god. When I thought about it, and for him to acknowledge me as MJ, it was like, man, you must be pretty good. And so that's when I felt like I was a pretty good basketball player, is when MJ acknowledged me as MJ.
Yeah,
but he never did it twice, though.
They did call him Black Jesus at one point.
Yeah, man. But look, the funny thing is everyone that knew Michael Jordan would never call me MJ. They'll call me M. They'll call me James. And I'll be like, seriously? Like, y'all not going to call
It's
me?
like forbidden. You can't. There's only one person you call MJ.
It's like they didn't feel right saying it again, and it's me turning around. Like,
that's an awesome story. Well, Mike, we have this segment on the show called "The Grass is Greener," where we always give our guests a platform to talk about what they got going on, highlight what they're doing in today's community. We know that you got some great things going on with your boxing promotion, how you're touching the youth. Tell the fans out there a little bit about why the grass is greener on Mike James' side and what you got going on.
Oh man, got a cannabis company that's really about to take off this year. Excited about that. That's really been a blessing. It's been the past 3 years really putting in the grind towards it, and now really about to start really seeing the fruits of the labor is really exciting. Want to start doing more AAU basketball. My daughter, she's 13 now, and I started training her, and she's like my little project. I think I can turn her into a great basketball player, but don't stop there. Why not? And the funny thing is, I want to get into girls AAU. And I guess it's my daughter that's getting me excited about it. But at the same time, I want to do girls AAU basketball. And I have a little heart for that. Being a girl dad, I guess it only makes sense.
We gonna see Mike James elite on the girl side?
Man, I'm gonna be cussing them out too. They gonna see me. You better not cry. There is no crying in basketball.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Tell the people about what you got going on with your boxing promotion.
Oh man, the boxing has been amazing. We have a few fighters that are so close to fighting for world titles. You know, my partner, he's amazing, and he's been grinding this thing out for some years now. You know, you can see what we've been doing, nextfigup.com, or you can even go on the Instagram at nextfigup. And now, you know, the main goal has really been looking for sponsors and people to gravitate with us and go into this business with us. What we created and put together, it's now about evolving it. And sometimes, you know, a little bit of help don't hurt. And so that's where we want to take it. We want to take it mainstream. We want to take it a little bit further than just backyard, you know, Houston. We want to be able to go nationwide.
Well, I misspoke. You're not Coach James Elite. It's more like Pastor James. Because when you talk, it's like you talking with a scripture, you talking with a purpose. Everybody listens. And I'm just so glad, and we're so glad here at Grassroots that you came and stopped by the studio, share some of your life experiences, share some of your stories. Tell the fans out there where they can follow Mike James at on social media.
You can follow me on _Mike James 13. That's where you can reach me on Instagram.
All right, that's awesome. So, Mike James, again, thank you for stopping by. Hey, quick question for you. Where do you keep your NBA championship ring?
Well, actually, my dad, I gave it to my dad, you know, when I won the championship. It was more like a trophy to me, you know, and my whole entire career, I've always given him all my trophies. So when I won the championship, it was like another trophy that I had to give to him.
Awesome. Well, we want to give a special shout out to the parent network here at Apollo Media. Fans, go follow them everywhere on social media at Apollo HOU for all Houston sports content. I'm your host, Everett Sakajobi, and as always, the grass is always greener. Thanks.